Welcome back. Yeah, I know. Really interesting. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, the Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, I've got to remind viewers that this interview brought to you by Steuben County Office for the Aging, committed to maximizing quality of life, safety, and independence. There is so much news going on. Where do you want to begin? I know what the biggest breaking story is. I got to ask. How's the garden?
The garden is in. The garden is doing great. Yeah, it's all planted, and it's doing very well. This is going to be a wonderful year for the garden, I think, with all the rain we've had, and we might even get some sun today.
Maybe.
It's warm out there right now.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. This has been really a successful program. It hasn't been that long, has it?
Actually, we started it in 2014.
Oh, okay, so it has been.
That's when we started it with 2 beds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now we're up to 10 or 12. I forget which.
Oh, that's exciting.
And guess what we're planting next?
What?
Fruit trees.
Oh, okay. Well, I think these are all great ideas.
We're moving into fruit trees. I tried to talk them into grapes so we could do some Crowbar Hotel wine. But
no, they won't.
That didn't get any traction.
No, that wasn't. Well, it probably did from some people. Some people
Inside
probably, they loved it. Now, it seems like, unfortunately, every time we do this interview, we do kind of start on the county because we do need an update. Unfortunately, in today's media climate, we're not getting updates on this, and that could be for various reasons.
That's been historical.
Yeah.
With the county is that they're very quiet about the things they're doing. You know, I've been doing a lot of research into it, and when they voted to not appeal, the legislature did.
Right.
But then the message was, well, we have to let Mr. Vanette and Mr. Wheeler appeal because they're named in it.
Right.
And I thought, you know what, that's true if it was actually a lawsuit.
Right.
If they were actually being sued, that's a true statement. But in the misdirection that we've become accustomed to,
exactly,
what they're not saying is how many times in an Article 78 where someone is named in their capacity, have they paid for the appeal? And I'm betting the answer is 0.
0. Well, this is why, and last time I was kind of embarrassed to ask you on the show, but I do know now because you filled us in, but I still don't really understand what they're appealing.
There's nothing to appeal. No. And I think that's why it's taken them so long to actually do anything with it, because I know from Foils that they've spent considerable amount of money having Coughlin Gerhardt specifically research the appeal. So they've spent more of your tax money to research how can we possibly maybe appeal this. And, you know, again, we're up over $250,000 now that they've spent between especially in attorney fees, but also in attorney fees to try and justify their actions. Again, the results of which no voter will ever see.
No. And so $250,000 at least.
Yes.
And I'm sure as it unfolds. And wasn't their argument at the beginning was to save taxpayers' money?
Yeah, I was going to bankrupt the county, if you recall. That was the statement that was made.
Yeah. And so they had the extension on the appeal that we talked about last time. But that's got to be coming up close. Have you heard anything?
I have not.
No. But I mean, we're looking at 30 days within, I would say.
Within a week.
Yeah, give or take.
So in typical county fashion, if they're going to do anything, it'll be at 11 o'clock on the final day.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I can't believe we're still talking about this.
Well, and it's, as I do more research, so this is the other part of it is, if they hadn't done these things, I wouldn't be continually researching them.
Right.
And I wouldn't be learning just how bad it was. And just how bad the advice that they got was, and just how bad that the legislature was misled by those that are supposed to counsel and advise. The county charter is very clear. If you change the power or authority of any elected official, that has to go out to a permissive referendum.
Right.
So saying that I had to purchase insurance or I couldn't do my duties or receive my pay, I would say would fall under that category.
Yeah.
And should have been to a permissive referendum before they even thought about voting on it.
Yeah. And do you find yourself, because you are doing the research and you've been dealing with this so long, I know in the past, I'm sure, especially at the very beginning, very discouraging for you. You've spoke on that in the past.
Yep.
What are your feelings on it now as it just keeps continuing?
It's just disgust.
Yeah, disgust.
It is. I'm just disgusted with the lack of transparency, disgusted with the lack of professionalism and the lack of leadership and the willingness to do things that they know are wrong but it's not wrong until someone catches us.
Yeah.
And then we'll defend it and say, we won't say it's right, but we'll defend it till the death to say we didn't do wrong.
Right. And this
what kind of a perspective is that to lead from?
What kind of system? Yeah, it shows a lack of leadership, obviously, clearly. And when you say almost like catch them, because of the executive sessions, people don't know what's going on at the county level. And I know at the very beginning when we first started talking about this, there was 2 reasons that even Chemung residents were upset, that you are an elected official.
Correct.
So they were trying to take not only defund the police, which we know that term, but also take, like we saw with Trump, they were trying to take away the voters' will.
Yes.
Right.
And they were trying to do election engineering, is what it comes down to.
Right. And so that was one. And the second part that people would get outraged is because they'd say, why didn't you report on this before? Or why didn't we know anything about this? Because everything was executive sessions. And voters don't like executive sessions.
Even the vote. So even the vote to appeal. Was done in executive session.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that?
After I mean, I know I say this every time, but the Supreme Court made pretty crystal clear. Let's ease up on let's ease up on the executive sessions.
How about we follow the open meeting law and become a transparent government? Wouldn't that be wild?
Heaven forbid. I know. But you used the term disgusted, and I think after hearing from some of the candidates, not all, but this is the first time in recent memory that we've had this kind of action when it comes to primaries.
It is.
And
I can never remember a primary for a legislative seat.
No, ever. So most of the time they're running unopposed completely. And now this year we've got all 3 candidates in Irwin coming up again for kind of the second round.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
That's cool.
To have everybody on. But do you think when you talk to people, do you think that's what's led to this resurgence in primary interest?
Well, I think that the county government is obviously broken in the way in which it runs.
Right.
And people are seeing that now and going, how did we let this happen? Because a lot of our tax money goes to the county government, and they really hold great sway on what's done. You look at our roads and public safety now with the ambulance service, all of those things.
Right.
It's really a tremendous amount of everyday life.
Right.
And so if by not paying attention, we've allowed it to get to the state that it's in, now people are starting to pay attention. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because, through all of the principled policing and police reform and all of those things, we're completely transparent. We have to be.
Exactly.
Let's see that in our county government.
Yeah.
Let's see that transparency, and let's see a commitment to doing the right thing the first time. Let's see a commitment to following the spirit of the law rather than looking for loopholes to do what we want to do.
Right.
And I think that people are paying attention, and that's why this primary is so important.
It really is.
Because you've got some folks that have voted for this $250,000 and voted to keep everything in secret consistently since they've been at the county, and you've got other folks that are going, whoa, time out.
Right.
We need to fix this. We need to fix it now.
Yes. And I'm encouraged. I know I talked to you about this probably the last 2 times, but even in private conversation, I was really, really encouraged when I was taking out petitions how many people were aware of this.
Yes.
Because you never know. In today's media climate, there isn't a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I was telling you off the air, the Hornell Sun, I love the job that they do because it's such a great local outlet. And you would think Hornell, but they cover stuff even our way. Right. And they covered our last interview and have done a great job of as best as they can. But it goes back to the point,
excuse me,
you're not getting anything from the county. And if they're in an executive session, there's nothing to report there.
Right. And again, that whole let's hide behind closed doors mentality just raises the alarm of people of what are they doing?
Yeah.
And if it's not transparent, it appears, whether it is or not, it has the appearance of inappropriateness, possibly illegalness, if that's even a word. Illegality.
We'll allow it. You watch this show before.
I'm going to throw a towel on that one. But it gives you that appearance of they're doing stuff they hadn't ought to do.
Yeah.
And that's why they're hiding it.
Well, when you talk about PR and optics, right?
Yes.
2 very important words when it comes to politics.
Yes.
The PR and the optics look horrible, even if there isn't anything to hide.
Correct.
So it's never good to be behind closed doors.
No, and if you noticed on when they did vote on the whether or not to appeal in executive session, there was a large group that said we should not be in executive session.
Right.
I'm starting to beat up your equipment again.
That's right.
That said no, let's stay open. And they were defeated by a small group that said, no, we have to stay secret.
Yeah, someday they could write a book about this someday.
It really is. It could be a study in broken government.
It really could, because there's all these tell-all books or whatever about Biden now, and we hear about what it was like behind the scenes. I would love to know what happened behind the scenes, and also I think it speaks a little bit to some of the elected leaders who were duped, because I think some were just outright duped.
I think they were tricked, yes.
Yeah, and I think that speaks a little bit to, again, because they're in a position of leadership. Were they ready for that position of leadership? Right. It's the question you've got to ask. And that's
that's the question the voters got to ask. Coming up very soon is, did you vote the way you did because you were tricked? Or did you vote the way you did because you believe that was the right thing to do?
Right. Is either a good answer?
No.
Okay, I think we're on the same page there. All right, we got to take a short break. A lot of comments coming in. If you are just joining us, though, the Corning Painted Post Area School District, that's another thing. 3 votes. We're asking the voters to go out for 3 different votes in a month.
I know.
People are confused. But there were the 2 school budgets, and then we got the primaries. Primaries coming up next Tuesday, and we're going to be reminding you.
And you can vote early.
You can vote. You can vote now. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're out Bathway, get it out of the way so you don't forget.
I always vote early.
Do you?
I do, because
I did during the presidential.
And I know you got to go to a break.
No, you're fine. No,
I've been stuck where I didn't vote in the morning before I left, and then I get out on something, and I can't get back before 9.
Oh, good point. Yeah, because we talked about it and we have time. But the presidential election, I went out and voted early because we were told to.
Yeah,
and I said, why not? I wanted the sticker that said I voted early. Right. A different sticker to add to my collection. But I liked it because you get thinking, well, what if you don't feel good that day?
Right.
Or what if you don't want to spread if you got something's going around, or you get busy at work. So why not? If you're out Bathway, go and vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how the turnout's been. Have you heard anything?
I have not. Yeah. I'm going to find out today, because I'm going to go vote early today.
All right. Perfect. Let me know. All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Corning Painted Post school budget passed, and so did Horsehead. So we'll be right back. Frankly Speaking, after this, stay with us. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. We got a couple questions, a couple comments. I don't think they're all in relationship to you, but we'll see. Ken writes in, I have never heard about anything that James has done, Letitia James, for the people of New York. Her political plan has been to work as hard as possible, be known as a loyal conservative-hating, NRA-hating, Trump-hating Democrat, in hopes that the New York hands her and pushes her to the governorship. She stepped back from running for the New York governorship last time at the Democrat leadership's request. I assume that she agreed to wait until 26 to attempt another run. She may. I still think, if I'm a Democrat, I couldn't stand her. Because she really helped, I think, put Trump over the edge. What did Trump say back during the campaign, that I'm one indictment away from the White House again? Right. And it's true. I think it's one of the many issues why Trump won.
Yeah.
All right,
and she has obviously not helped with the recent crisis in corrections.
Yeah.
She has not helped in law enforcement whatsoever. As the chief law enforcement officer for the state, she has been a horrible detractor of law enforcement.
Yeah. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Very disappointed that the school budget passed. I still believe that if you don't use the schools for anything, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Thank you very much. Yes, Corning, Painted Post, and Horseheads both passed, kind of overwhelmingly. Okay, we could talk. There's so many national issues too, but you just mentioned corrections. Are there any updates on the poor corrections officers that suffered for so long without any pay?
Yeah. So we hired, as you know, over a dozen. Immediately after that, they were contacted by the state saying they would bring them back at their former pay, with no loss. But they had to sign saying they would never strike again. This is what was reported to me. Okay. I didn't read it, and that they were basically on a probation for 3 months or 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
3 years. If you act up, you can be gone. So we lost, of the dozen we hired, 5 went back. Okay. The rest stayed. Yeah. 2 left altogether, said we're leaving corrections forever.
I couldn't blame them.
Yeah, I just had a deputy that resigned to go be an electrician.
Good.
He said it's not the career that it was when I started.
It doesn't give him the same charge. I
called him Sparky for last week.
I don't even feel good about that.
So. But there are, even since that has been offered, there's been another 600 that have resigned from the state. So we're hopeful of picking some more up. But, all of this and they only decertified the folks that are working for counties.
Okay.
The ones that came back didn't get decertified. So what's that tell you about the integrity of that system?
Could this have been handled any more poorly? It reminds me of legalizing marijuana.
Well, yeah.
It's just done. It's like the Wild Wild West. Hochul says something, and they don't know how to reach the conclusion.
And what we're seeing in the last week of Assembly and Senate is now they're trying to double down on the Commission of Corrections, which is a 3-person board which oversees all corrections in the state of New York.
Okay.
They set the policy in accordance with correction law, and then they come out like we get audited 4 times a year by them.
Oh, okay.
Every place does. Now they want to change it from 3 professionals to a 9-person board appointed by the Assembly, including a convicted felon as one of the members of the board, to tell us how to run jails.
Well, they would have insider info, I guess.
They would, yeah.
But they may not have your best interest at heart.
Well, they may not have the best interest in the safety and security of the facility at heart. So who knows if that's going through or not. That was on the docket for the last couple of days.
And 9-person, man.
And they elect their own chair.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not appointed by the governor's office.
And if people don't realize how scary that is, every time we talk about one-party rule on this program, so if the Assembly gets to say who's on that, and one being a felon.
Well, and it takes the control away from the governor's office, too. So that's something I'm seeing over the past 2 weeks is anything that takes control away from the governor's office and puts it back in the hands of the Assembly, that's being pushed through.
Yeah. Speaking of Governor
Hochul, things aren't good in Oz.
Yeah, I know. But you heard that one comment that someone made about Nick Langworthy and Elise Stefanik, too, going after Hochul. How great was that? What do you think, because we talked about this together on this program before, but the sanctuary policies that we have, I'm so glad she was called to task on it. Also, she is not that good on her feet, is she?
No.
Off the cuff?
No, that's why I say I would love to see her and Elise Stefanik do a debate.
Oh,
I would pay to see. I would buy popcorn and sit in the front row.
It would be very rare. I mean, I'm kind of nerdy, so I like the debates, but that's why I wanted to be the head of the UN so bad.
Well, but talking about sanctuary state, just last week, Oswego County Sheriff's Office got subpoenaed by Letitia James for all policies, documents, etc., concerning immigration. Yeah. So what's that tell you?
Exactly.
And they're on the border. They're on the northern border.
But what is it like in your dealings when it comes to sanctuary policies? Do you have what have you had to experience? Anything?
No, actually, we're going to the legislature later this month to get authorization to enter into an agreement with ICE so that we can have some of our folks trained to be able to look in their system and use their system so that we don't have to ask, are you or aren't you?
Okay.
If they're in our jail, we can automatically look and see if it's somebody that ICE is looking for so that we can facilitate that turnover when they're done with their charges or whatever here locally. I think that's a great idea. And it also takes away the burden of having to ask.
Right.
So I'm all about working with our federal partners in any way that we can. And again, if they're in our jail and they're not supposed to be in our country, why in the world wouldn't we make sure and facilitate that handoff to ICE?
Yeah. I mean, all of this seems like no-brainer, but like you said, Letitia James has a different opinion. Governor Hochul has a different opinion.
Yes, they do.
But I would highly recommend to anybody, if you haven't watched that testimony or whatever you want to call it, that hearing,
Parts of it was brutal.
Oh, yeah.
It was brutal.
It was kind of almost awkward to watch because Governor Hochul doesn't. You could tell she wasn't going to be governor and was put in that position.
Right.
Whatever you think about Andrew Cuomo, he was still a politician, right?
Yes.
And he could glad hand and he could do all that stuff. She just comes off very, very awkward. And
well, in what I saw in those interviews or interrogations, whatever you want to call them, she is arrogant. And she is not able to speak quickly on her feet in the same league that those other folks
not even close. Like you said, I can't wait for that debate. Hopefully that debate. A couple comments before we go to break. Since the legalization of marijuana, has the DUI rate gone up?
Yeah.
That's kind of
it has.
Is that something that you're running into a lot more now that it's because I even noticed on Market Street, people driving by I know they can walk on the street with it.
Yeah.
But I see people driving by, and you can smell it after they pass by.
They're not supposed to, but cars will go by, and you'll be like, whoa.
Yeah. It looks like my car's always running with smoke, but it's just because it's a junker. But you see those?
Frank.
Yeah, right. But you see them billing out like Uncle Buck. Remember the movie?
Yeah.
and you smell it when they're 2 blocks away.
Spicoli.
Yeah, exactly. That too. All right, we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. But frankly speaking, after this. Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. And this is the Steuben County Office for the Aging section of our program. And joining us in the studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. Okay, a couple comments from viewers. Good morning, Frank. Seniors should not be paying $21 per $1,000 of assessed value, more like $10 or less. We already put our kids through school, and that's in reference to the school budget passing in both Corning Painted Post and in Horseheads. Now, this one's for you. I wonder, from a different viewer, I wonder if Sheriff Allard has any feedback so far about the New York State boating course. I, for one, got it done, but I must say I had a few choice words along the way.
I wonder if they did the online or if they did the in-person, because honestly, I had, it's a person that works here in DPW at Corning, reached out after he took the in-person one from us and just raved about the quality of the instruction.
Oh, great.
And how good the instructors were, which is, it's always nice to hear.
Yeah, that is nice.
It's always nice to hear.
Now, how's it been now that the weather has broke sometimes?
Right.
Don't get started in that, but we are going to ask you about that. But have you had a lot of issues with people?
No, we haven't. And we're just getting into our enforcement season too, so we'll see where it goes from here. But the biggest thing on the boating issues was the no boating and then limited boating at the lakes after the last storm, and we're back to normal now. So
good.
We'll start getting folks out there. But by and large, I presented to Keuka Lake Association. I presented to Lamoka Juanita Lake Association. By and large, everybody realizes it and is on board with getting it.
Yeah.
So one guy asked me how much the fine would be, and I said $250, and he said, I guess I'll get it.
Yeah. How bad has it been, though? You mentioned the weather, and it's been closed off. How bad was it at the Sheriff's Office dealing with these weather events?
So DPW is doing a phenomenal job, the county DPW, in all of the towns and villages, because it's a lot of road repair going on. It wasn't like before where, luckily whole sections were washed out, but there are a lot of roads that are washed out underneath, and they're working very diligently to get that done, and God bless them for the work they're doing, and stay safe out there.
Right.
Because not everybody is patient when you go down to one lane traffic, and we support them with traffic enforcement whenever they request it. But the lakes are pretty much back to normal now.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of stuff floating though, so be careful. Yeah, tubing and skiing and all that.
We had the cardboard boat regatta up at Watkins.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was a blast.
I want to do that someday.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I do.
You should. But they had to clean up all the debris from the, and it was bad.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
Yeah, they had a lot of runoff too.
But it was a fun time.
Yeah. It always looks fun.
It's got to be so cold in that water.
I know.
I feel horrible for them. We had a question from a viewer earlier. Oh, by the way, that viewer wants you to know that it was online. So those choice words weren't for you or anybody else for the computer. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Last time we talked, there was talks of getting more deputies. Any word on that?
So it's passed Public Safety and Corrections and Finance to add 2 more right now. And it'll go to the full edge at the end of this month, another week, next Monday.
Okay.
And so we'll be adding 2 more now, and then what I was told is they will run some more data through 911 and then look at the budget and through the budget process.
Okay.
Which is, I don't want a ton at once. I want to space it out and slowly build it to where it needs to be. But even if it's 1 a year or 2 a year, let's keep progressing and let's keep moving to where we need to be, because for many, many years it's been under-resourced, and let's be realistic and plan ahead.
Right.
That's my goal.
Does it seem to have the support?
It does.
Okay, good.
It really does.
Okay, good. We do have to get another short break here. Get your last minute questions in, because we're going to end on a couple of good notes too, because we got some fun events coming up. You've got some fun events coming up. I want to talk about that. A couple other things as well. So stay with us. Get your last second questions in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, and this is the Steuben County office for the aging section of our program. Joining us in the studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. We got a question from a viewer. This is from Ernie. He says, I have a question for the sheriff. The large farms around here hire illegals at times. Basically, and he ties in with the old Tennessee Ernie Frohward song, 16 tons, because it reminds him of the coal mines and the unions.
Right.
Have you noticed any kind of uptick in illegal immigration in our area?
I have not, but I do know that, we're largely agricultural based, especially the wineries and the vineyards, and they depend on that workforce.
Right.
So, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Right.
I think that's all the government is asking is let's do it the right way.
Right. And even Trump said so essentially about a week ago, maybe now. I don't know. You can't keep up with it. Okay. This is amazing to me. I was reading your newsletter, which I'm a big fan of, and the app, which I'm now hooked on. It's in the morning I check 2 websites. I do my Wordle and I check that. So
we're in with the times.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it. So check out the app. But I cannot believe that Emily's Challenge, how big of a success this is and how important it is. If people aren't aware, tell us about Emily's Challenge, the educational trailer.
So it's an educational trailer that details 2 fatal crashes that occurred in our county that both of them took the lives of young people, one due to distracted driving, one due to impaired intoxicated driving. And we have an actual vehicle in the trailer that was involved in one of the more horrific crashes I've seen in my career, where 4 people died. And we have video that goes along with it with testimonies from the survivors and the responding officers. And it's very, very powerful. And then Emily was the daughter of our dispatcher, Kim Clark, and she presents with it also. So you have that real-time presentation, plus the video, plus then you go out and experience and hear the 911 calls, hear the crash, everything associated with that. And it's a year. It'll be a year in service next week, and we've already served over 3,000 students.
That's amazing.
With that message.
Well, 3,000 students, not to mention when it's at the fair. I saw it at the Steuben County Fair. So how many people has it actually reached? Because it's impactful.
It's very impactful.
It takes you back. It's tough to, not too many dry eyes. And the kids
our goal is to save as many lives as we can to get them to make that last minute thought, do I want to get in this car or don't I? And it's been, we've actually been tapped to go to the Highway Safety Symposium in Oswego for the state Governor's Traffic Safety Council. They want us to bring it up there in October and present on it for statewide presentation.
Are you sure that's still ongoing? Oswego's busy finding all that paperwork for Letitia James. Speaking, I shouldn't make a joke about it. It stinks. It really does stink.
Yes.
But I know Emily's Challenge trailer, I'm assuming, is going to be at the open house, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Tell us, that was my segue. Wasn't that great?
Yes.
Tell me about the open house coming up on the 19th. July 19th.
So on the 19th, we're doing a first responder open house at the Hammond Sport Fire over in their fair area, their outdoor facility. And the purpose is for recruitment for not just law enforcement, also for EMS and fire.
Yeah, right.
And so we're inviting everybody to it, and we're going to be doing demonstrations. Our canines will be there, our SWAT team will be there, our CERT team from the jail will be there, and we'll be doing demonstrations. We'll have applications for the county there with us.
Oh, great.
And I was told that there's a possibility Brian Hughes may be there performing.
Okay.
So we'll have some music.
Wow.
We'll have food. Corning Catering will be there supplying the food. And the idea is to expose as many young people as we can to what emergency services do in this county. And it doesn't have to be young people. Anybody that's interested in being a public servant or in serving their community through volunteer fire.
Right. And now we're just about out of time, but I think we're going to make this a point to bring this up every time. We talked the last few times about the camp and peer support camp, and I can't remember the official term for the camp, but you've been working hard on this. Are there any updates?
Yes, on the Wellness Center.
Well, thank you. I can't think of the word.
There are some updates. Actually, I presented last week to the community services the person that's in charge of mental health for every county.
Oh, wow.
We presented to them. Excuse me. I presented to up in Oriskany to a round table of New York State wellness providers.
Okay.
And super supportive. Both are, and things are moving forward with it. Next month, I was invited to a roundtable with Senator Gillibrand to discuss it.
That'd be fun.
We've teamed with the Mental Health Association of New York State also to create kind of the gold standard of peer support training with establishing a network county by county statewide. Mm-hmm. So we're working very diligently towards that also. So it's got momentum.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to be part of it, but even more excited for what it's going to mean for the future generation of law enforcement.
Absolutely.
And for their durability in this very difficult career.
Mm-hmm. And is there going to be an opportunity for us to help support this in the future?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and as soon as that, right now they're still hitting the big folks.
Yeah.
And very soon it'll open up to individual donations. And when that happens, I'll make sure that we get it out.
Yes, please do, because I know every time we bring it up, people are excited to hear it, because it's almost one of those things of why hasn't this been already done?
I know.
In a weird way.
It's
one of those things right in front of your face that no one ever saw.
And you look at over the last 15 years or so, when I was new on the job, if you had a stressful night, you went to a watering hole
right.
and had a couple pops, and not that helped, but that's what you did. Now we take it much more seriously, and that's the peer support bill, one of them that we were backing, in the Assembly finally passed the line where if someone is a certified peer support officer, they have confidentiality now. They can't be subpoenaed into court to testify what that person in crisis told them.
Wow. That's so important.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. It's great to hear. And we don't have time really, but we should let people know you've got your big golf tournament coming up.
Yes, August 22nd.
You've been practicing?
I'm not sure that would help.
No, not to mention the weather's been, so that can be everybody's excuse.
Yeah.
There's been so much rain. I didn't get to practice in, but they should still definitely participate in the golf tournament. It's a fun time, and Billy Spalding's going to be there too.
Yes, and he's going to have a team.
I can't wait. That's who I'm rooting for.
You want to see Billy swing a club, don't you?
I do. I can't wait. I picture it like honeymooners. Hello, ball.
Yeah.
Address the ball. Anyway, on that note, we are out of time for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Again, if you are just joining us, you missed a heck of a show, but the Corning Pan Post school budget did pass, as well as Horsehead. Sheriff Allard, thanks as always for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I know you want to remind everybody, next Tuesday is the vote.
Next Tuesday is the primary vote. Get out and vote.
Yes.
Rock the vote.
That's right. All right, join us tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll see you bright and early. Look forward to it already.